Alright, hey everybody, this is a video. I'm just going to go over this pixel editor that I'm creating. As you can see here, I'm putting the source code on GitHub. I'll put a link in the description. But basically, if you go here, you have access to the files. And you could also test it out by clicking this link. So whatever's the latest version that's available, you'll be able to test it out by going to that link. You might have to refresh it to get things to display correctly, maybe, I don't know. But so that's that, and you can contribute to it and stuff. It's open source. But here's what it currently looks like. We're just starting with it, so there's not much here, but I have these color sliders. You can click on them and it changes the color. There's a primary color and a secondary color, and you can change both of them. I still need to work on this color picker a bit more, because as you can see, when I click the other color, the sliders don't update, so I'll have to implement that. And also there's values that you could type in. You could also click and drag up and down to adjust just the values, or you could just type in different values like that. And this force slider, I'm not sure what that is. I might just remove that. I don't know. Also, there's RGB, and also you can click that for HSL, hue, saturation, and luminance sliders, and it updates them correctly so that you could slide them and everything works basically how it should. And you could click back. Also, my mouse sometimes double clicks, so if something acts weird, it might be because of my mouse. This is just test this thing. Also, by the way, I'm not gonna be too technical in like terminology and stuff like that, because I don't really do programming professionally, so I'm not all what's the word? I haven't been forced into a specific something. So here is the actual canvas area where you'll be able to draw, but you can't draw at the moment. We don't have any tools implemented yet. This was an iframe, but I changed it to a div because that way it'll be part of the same page. If we were using iframe, it kind of like splits it into another page, and then it makes it confusing with like the events and interacting with stuff, because I don't know, the DOM structure or whatever. Okay, so I also need to adjust the size and get the layout of everything. We're still working on that. Like this color picker will probably be positioned somewhere else. At the moment, it's just up there because we have nothing else. Okay, so what else? Oh yeah, here's some of the code. The index HTML page, and we have some JavaScript files included. So these get loaded when you load the page. We have a style sheet. We had an iframe style sheet, but we probably don't need this. Yeah, we don't need this anymore, so I'll close that. And also, I guess I could just delete that. Yep. So we don't need that file anymore since we're not using iframes. Here's the style sheet. Okay, so we have like a body block div with an ID body block. And I found this was required because if we go back to this, I capture events like mouse clicking and stuff like that, and when the mouse leaves the window, because if you're clicking on, say, one of these sliders and then you drag the mouse off the window and then unclick, then we need to figure out the current mouse state at all times. So why do we need this thing? Because it's complicated. Anyways, I guess I'll show you something. Okay, on mouse move, on mouse down, we get the click down element. Okay, so like if we click that slider, this clicked element will store that element in this variable. And so mouse enter. I haven't prepared what to say, so I'm just kind of thinking like how to explain all this. Maybe I'll leave that for some other time. But we have, okay, so how this works, I guess, is, okay, these things get loaded. We have these divs for the canvas elements. And here we go into the elements here. So if we inspect this, we could see that there's the canvas frame. Well, first we have the div that is scrollable and has content within it, and it's this one right here, and it has all this style stuff. So it has like a frame or a border, and the sizing of it, calc 100% minus 200 pixels. So like the size, it gets the size of the window, 100% minus 200 pixels. So from here to here is 200 pixels. And then we have positioned it absolute and to the right and to the top. And we'll probably change that depending on how we design the layout of it. And then, so inside it we have a canvas frame, and we put a padding on it just so that there's a space between the actual drawing area and the sides, because otherwise it would be stuck up in this upper left corner. So like if you're drawing off of it, it wouldn't like register where your mouse is, basically. So like if we're drawing here, hopefully it'll follow where the mouse is, maybe. I don't know, maybe not. But I guess is more aesthetically pleasing, because you'll be able to center it better in the window and stuff like that. And then, okay, so then we have that, and then we have this div here, which is just to have that pattern there, I guess, and also to hold all the canvas elements. So then we have all these canvas elements, and these, I have 5 of them right now, and that'll be like just an example of having like 5 layers. And position absolute, and I don't know why the, oh yeah, I guess, yeah, okay. And the Z index will control whether one layer is over or under another layer, I guess. Okay, so then we have this canvas overlay. It's not being positioned at the correct position at currently, as you can see. But what this will be used for is to display the cursor indicator, or the brush outline, I guess, like where the brush I don't know how to say it. It'll indicate like where the brush is positioned when you move the mouse, the outline of it. Yeah. Okay, so that kind of explains what we have for that at the moment. Okay, the color panel. I guess if you already know how to program and stuff like that, you could figure out all this stuff that I'm saying. And then we have the color panel div that holds all the sliders and stuff. And by the way, we're not using any libraries or whatever. We're just doing all this with, you know, plain JavaScript and modern browser stuff. Okay, so down here is a script, and it runs this initiate function, which is in here in the main JavaScript file. It's right here. So it runs this, and then it just goes down line by line. Master initiate. It runs this function in the master object, which is right here. And it goes down through all these lines. So it's like master E. This E will hold all the elements, I guess, that are important to store, so we could reference them easily. So document get element by ID, color panel, and what that does is it gets this div element here, and it stores it in here, basically. It doesn't store it, it just kind of, I'm not, see, like I'm not like a programmer, like what's the word, I'm not all educated with all the right terminology, so I'm just basically, I taught myself all the patterns. I'm like an artist, primarily an artist, so I just know the patterns. Canvas div, canvas overlay. I don't know why I'm explaining all this. So then it goes to the next one, scene initiate, which is in the scene JavaScript file, and it just goes down here, and like some of this will change. Like a lot of this is just carried over from a previous project I was working on, just to have like something to start with. And so I might change some of this stuff depending on how things go. And initiates it, and then set up canvas. I could have just put all this in the initiate function, I don't know. And so then it goes to this function. Layer will probably store like which layer you're drawing on currently. And then, okay, so it sets up all these canvas elements and stores them in these variables here, these arrays. And like a new, what is this? Okay. So creates a canvas element. Yes, it's all the attributes for them so that they display correctly on the page, and then it appends it to the canvas div. So basically, when it appends it, it inserts it into this div right here, and that's how come you see them listed all here. That's what it does. As you can see, it sets all those attributes, you know, position absolute, z-index, pointer events. That was all set right here, and the width and height. And getting the context, we do that because then we'll be able to use drawing procedures on the actual canvas in the future when we get around to doing that. Okay, so then next thing, tool initiate. I haven't done, this is all just placeholder stuff right here in this file. I haven't even really touched this that much. So I'm just going to skip over all this because a lot of it will probably change. I'll probably remove a lot of this stuff and just redo it so that it's a lot simpler, because this is all based on a previous project that I was working on. But basically initiate, see, like I had like, what did I have? I can't even remember what all this relates to. This is probably like, what is this? I don't know. I'll just skip this part since we're not too concerned with that just yet. So then the next thing is color initiation. So this function is in the color panel JavaScript file. I might rename the file and just call it color or something like that. I'm not sure yet. So we have this color object of this type, color data. Mode stores whether you're using RGB or HSL. Picked. This will be the current color picked, and the first, it's an array. The first index in the array is the primary color, second index is the secondary color, and which has an object, index 0, index 1, color, which is a string with the representation of the color. And then E is, what's E? E is, what is E? E, oh, the E is the DOM element of the primary and secondary DOM elements. I think that's what you call them. Okay, and then RGB, HSL values as well. So the initiation function, it runs, it stores, oh, it actually checks and see if the local storage has the data from previous session, and it parses that and puts it in to the index 0 for the primary, index 1 for secondary. The color data gets stored in primary and secondary variables into local storage. And you could also just, if you don't understand this stuff, you can like search online what local storage is and get information about that. Or if it can't find it, if it doesn't exist, it just uses the default. We might not even need that since it's already up here. Anyways. Okay, so, and then in the color panel div, it sets the inner HTML, which sets basically HTML. It puts all this into the color panel div, which is a lot of stuff. It's a table with other divs like and buttons and things like that. All this stuff gets used for the sliders, and probably be too much to talk about. If people really want me to explain it all, then they can tell me to, and maybe I will, or they could just ask me questions. Because at the moment, this is all new, and so people probably don't know what I'm doing, so there probably won't be that much interest in what I'm doing at this moment. But if you're interested, just ask me questions. Okay, so then, okay. So it's, okay, then it updates the picker, color picker, so that the colors look correct. And stuff like that. The sliders have the right colors and things like that. Okay, then it creates all these what are these? They catch the events like mouse clicking and like on mouse move, when the mouse moves, when the button is down, when it's up, when the mouse leaves, when the mouse enters, when a key is down, and key is up. And then we also have a update function, which is used in various situations. And by the way, I'm using Notepad++ to type all this out. I think that explains a lot of stuff. Might be a pretty boring video, but I don't know. It's just an update showing you what we're working on here. I guess I could show you something else that I created in the past. If it still works. I don't know, I haven't tested it in a while. Let's see here. I made this a long time ago, years ago. I wonder if it still works. Okay, so what we're gonna make is a lot simpler than this. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff here. has like key bindings and stuff like that, and has history, has frames or layers and things like that. Selection tools, all sorts of stuff. Pressure, sensitivity, if you have a Wacom tablet, things like that. And you can zoom in. You can see the brush indicator as well. So, you know, I've done this before. I know what I'm doing. Anyways, so that's something else that I did. You can check that out if you want. But what we're creating here is just something new and simple. Very, very simple. It's gonna be very simple. Very lightweight, hopefully. And yeah. So that's that. See ya next time.